Good morning and welcome back to the Little French Homestead. If you are new to my channel, my name is Sherry and welcome. So today's going to be just a little bit different. We're not going to do any cooking today, but I'm going to be going over some of the essentials that you should have as a beginner cook. Now let me just tell you right here and right now, I am not a professional cook. I am not any chef by any means. I am a self-taught home cook along with a lot of help from my mom over the many years. To give you a quick little background, I never really cooked growing up. My mom did always the cooking. I'm an only child, so she cooked for me, my mom and my dad. And all of her cooking obviously was absolutely delicious growing up. Well, fast forward several years. Now, I do have two older children who I did do some like basic cooking for when I was living on my own with them. And when I met my husband and we ended up having the twins, there was a lot of debate whether or not that we should go ahead and buy baby food, make baby food, cost efficient wise, and I knew that making my own food was going to be a lot easier and a lot healthier. So as I started preparing myself for that, I had to do a lot of researching and asking my mom and whatnot, and eventually over the last almost 15 years, I have gotten a lot better. Now, obviously, there's still not a lot that I know everything. No cook knows everything. I'm sure not even Gordon Ramsay knows everything. But what I thought of when one of my daughter's friends asked, well, I don't really know how to cook and I don't really know where to start or how to start or like what to have. So as my daughter, who is almost 15 and she is in culinary this year, you may seen her on a few of my videos. Her name is Abby and she loves to help, and she does a lot more of the baking aspect in our home. She does usually follow a lot of recipes. Obviously, some recipes are in the box, you know, like a Duncan Hines mix or whatever, which is totally fine, you know, perfectly reasonable for her age at 15. But then there are some times where she likes to go ahead and go out on her own, and I go, yeah, go for it, you know. And she makes us a lot of very delicious treats. She really does. And I admire her for that. Well, also too, you know, if you don't have the basic tools in your house to do some cooking and or some baking, you don't know. So this is what this video is about. So let me go ahead and kind of just dive right in. Now, I've got a little cheat sheet list here over here on the side. And, you know, it's always a guide. You know, obviously, you do not have to have everything that I have. I have built up my supplies over the years, okay? You do not need to go buy the most expensive and the most, you know, have-tos and whatnot of cooking. You need to afford what you can afford. And it's not bad, but if you need to go to Walmart and afford Walmart, that's great, okay? You can then upgrade as you get better. All of the cooking equipment that I have, you don't need to have multiples of, but it's good to have multiples in backup situations, okay? So I'm first gonna say aprons, okay? I do have a multiple of aprons. I just got this. I got my daughter one too. This is on Amazon. This is super cute. I love it. It fits nicely here in the back. And it doesn't go around my neck. I'm one of those ones where I don't like a lot of stuff on my neck because then it just pulls my neck down and I get hurt. It gets painful after a while. But I do really like my other apron, my flowery one that I wear all the time. That one I can pull off the back of the neck. I did get a couple other ones. They're kind of short, so I just need to fix them a little bit. But get a very nice, durable, comfortable apron. So you're going to be seeing this a lot. This is very nice. Now I can link everything down below for you. Not everything is on Amazon that I have here. Some things are Walmart, some things are Kohl's, some things were gifts that were given to me. So I will try to link as much as I can in the description box down below to give you kind of a guide. Also to get these for Christmas, ask them for birthdays. There is nothing wrong with that, especially if you want to build up your repertoire of cooking essentials. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put my glasses on because unfortunately that's a part of my cooking requirements because I can't see the recipes. So besides your apron, you want some nice oven mitts. These have been through the ringer, but I love them. You want to have some nice dish pans, dish towels as well. Also some paper towels, okay? So I do wash my hands a lot and I prefer a paper towel, but these come in handy when you're wiping up a big mess because you're usually going to go ahead and throw that in the washing machine and that way they're reusable, okay? Now you do want to have a couple of different sizes of your cutting boards. I have this big one here. This one here is mostly for when we do pizzas here at home. That's why you see a lot of the orange on it. But I have this nice big one. I do cut vegetables on it, but mostly I do this just for pizza. You want a nice wooden one. I guess this has got a little bit of stuff on it, but you really want a nice wooden one. Now these ones I use for all of my veggie prep, and you want something that's got a good handle and some non-stick pads because when you're cutting you don't want it to move. If by some chance you still find your cutting board moving, grab a wet paper towel, put it underneath, set this down, it'll lock it in place, okay? This can be used for meats. This does have the meat drippings, so then that way they don't go all over the place. Just realize, don't use this for raw meats, okay? Because the wooden ones usually aren't allowed in the dishwasher because then they'll get ruined. So you don't want to put raw stuff on this. That's why I have this one here as my raw. This is mainly what I use for chicken, okay? Because then this can go right inside the dishwasher and that heat in the dishwasher will kill any type of bacteria or salmonella in here, so that way there's no cross-contamination. Okay, now we're gonna move on. And we're gonna go to knives. I have a bunch of knives here, and I have a bunch more here in my drawer. But really the necessities is you really want a nice, sharp chef's knife. Now you always want to hold your chef's knives like this, okay? Gives it a really great balance, and you're going to wrap these three around here. Yes, you've probably seen me a few times using my finger. You shouldn't, but sometimes I do that, yes. You just want to have it here, and that way you have your control. It's going to be a rocking motion like this, and that is the best way to cut it. You should never take your knife off the chopping block, okay? I do have a really nice serrated knife. This one here comes with a hold cover, so it always stays protected. And these are very sharp. This is a nice bread knife. I do have other knives here. This is just like a smaller chef's knife. And this one here is serrated a little bit, okay? Now these are some new knives that I just picked up not too long ago. These are from Z Willy, and these are extremely sharp. I mean, I just got these all in the other day, and I went to go use it for cutting some lettuce, and it was extremely sharp. So you just have a couple of paring knives and some other smaller knives, but these are a wonderful addition Multiple knives is always good because you don't want to use, if you're using it for raw chicken or raw meat, you always want to be able to change knives. You don't want to be cutting your chicken and then potatoes or any type of vegetables. You always want to make sure that you cut all of your fruits and your vegetables first before you do end up cutting any meats. But in the event you forget that, or last minute you decide that you want to do something else, always change your knife, always change your cutting board. I have this one here. This one, you have 1, 2, 3 levels of sharpness. You just hold this down here, and then you just take it to the third one, and then you take it here to the second one, and you take it here to the first one. You should be able to go right in there, okay? And then what I always do is I rinse it off underneath here with a little bit of soap and water, just in case any of the stainless steel or any other bits fall off. You certainly don't want that inside any of your food products. And then you have the normal holding one here. You always want to hold underneath and go like this. And then that way you go ahead and get them sharpened. Always face the knives away from you, never toward you. All right, we're gonna put this over here and move on. I just don't want my knives to be chopped up by anything. All right, so the next thing that I have is, I'll have to grab them over here, but we've got some measuring cups, measuring spoons. I have them in metal. Hold on one second. I forgot to bring these over. Then you'll have my glass ones as well. All right. Now I do love my glass ones, but I do know that after a while, the writing comes off. So I use this one here for mostly like if I'm doing any type of broth and I am putting it in my canning jars to can. I don't need to measure, so I can use that. If I am measuring, I got this big one here. There's 4 cups. That one's a 2 cup. They have them in 8s and biggers. I only go as high as the 4 cup. It also tells you the quarts on this side and in ounces, and then the cups all up here, and then liters. These are for your wet ingredients. These are for your dry. I have, yes, everybody has. You go and you can use them for both. That is totally fine. These are your spoons, okay? These are your measuring spoons. They go from 1 tablespoon all the way down to 1/8 of a teaspoon. You should stick with either metal, or you can use stainless steel, different types. They have some that actually have the like magnet in here so they all stay together. That's a great idea. Try not to use plastic, because if you see right here, the plastic does fade off. So I know that this is my 2 tablespoon, but when I was just needing some real quick, they're not really that expensive, but I think I didn't really have still that much money for it. And so I went and grabbed some plastic, and once you wash them several times in the dishwasher, the plastic, the numbers come off. So I made sure now I do stainless steel or metal, and that really helps down the line. But I do love this one because a lot of recipes do call for like 2 or 3 or 4 tablespoons. So I just grab that out and use it. Next is a mandolin, okay? Now this isn't a necessity unless you are doing a lot of slicing, like if you're gonna be making like scalloped potatoes and you need them all a certain thinness. French onion soup, you need them at a certain thinness. Vegetables, You want them at a certain thinness. This is where this comes in handy. And especially if you're doing a lot of it, they have a 1, 2, and a 3 for thickness. So you just push this down here, pull that up. This is extremely sharp, so you have your safety guard right here, and you put your vegetable on here. You'll see me doing a lot of onions, and you just slice, slice, slice. Always keep your fingers away from that, sharpening the knife here. Dishwasher safe, goes right inside that dishwasher, and they hook up together for easy storage. Now let me go ahead and come over here. Now I do have 2 different juicers. I have this one here that I just got. I absolutely love it. I will link this. This was an Amazon buy. One of my favorite YouTube channels that I love watching. She just got one. She got hers in yellow, but I wanted mine in stainless steel. They are both in stainless steel, but she just had hers in yellow. You just put your half a lemon in here and squeeze it, and it really does give out more lemon juice as you're doing it. So if you're just doing like 1 or 2 lemons in a recipe, that's totally fine. But if you notice and you've seen me a few times, I actually have done a video just not too long ago that I did a lot of lemon juicing. So I used my juicer, my high powered. Now there's so many different kinds. You have ones that, this is the electric one, but they have one of the old style, the glass that you can juice it on, or you can juice it on the hand done like this, okay? I love them both. So if you do a lot of juicing, like a big batch, you may want to consider to upgrade, but you don't have to. Next ones we're going to do is strainers, ladles, and spiders. So this is a spider, okay? This allows, like if you're doing anything fried, or if you have to be boiling, not boiling, but like blanching. That's what I was trying to think of. So blanching is if you're just gonna put something, mostly vegetables, in hot boiling water for 10 to 15 seconds, and then you need to scoop them out and put them in an ice bath. That's blanching, all right? So you'd wanna use that, or if you're cooking something that's deep fried, you want this because you wanna be able to get all of that oil coming out. Soup ladles, I have 2 different kinds. You are able to use these to like sift off of, like if you got a lot of soups. What do you need, babe? Hold on a second. What? A ribbon. Go ahead and walk by. This is the one that does the cooking with me. So you could go ahead and do a little bit of scooping on the sides to get rid of any grease or anything. So I have mostly like when you're doing broths. Let me just do it that way. When you're skimming the sides and you get all of that extra grease and stuff, you can skim that off and keep that aside. I usually have a couple of different ladles. These are some sifters, okay? I do have a few different sizes. You are to see these, like when I'm canning, I'll put maybe like a cheesecloth in one of these. And then that way I'm getting extra all the bits and pieces out that you don't want in your food. Now I also have just like a regular spaghetti strainer. I do see a lot of stainless steel. I've had this plastic one for probably 15 years, and until this breaks or dies, I'm not gonna go ahead and change it. Now I do have 2 different types, but if you really only want one because maybe you have very limited room in your house, this is a microplaner. This is what you can do for zesting. I also do this for my whole nutmeg. I have whole nutmeg and I'll zest this in here, tap it on the side, and you get that fresh nutmeg. But you don't have to have this, okay? You can use that. This is 4 sides, so it comes all different. This is for cheese. This can be for zesting, and I also use this for zesting, and this is for slicing cheese, and any other vegetables that you want to go ahead and do. Now this is a garlic press. This isn't mandatory or anything. I actually haven't used my garlic press in a long time, and it may become a donated item, or I might save it for one of the kids. I actually have 2 of these, and I couldn't find one for a long time, and then I ended up buying one. And then I found a wonderful channel, and they do garlic pucks. So what they'll do is they'll take all of their whole garlic, they will put it in a food processor, blend it all down, take a ice cream scoop, stick it in the freezer, and make little garlic pucks out of, and that's what I've enjoyed now, doing that. You'd want to go ahead and have many different, these are thermometers. So this is my basic one that I use all the time. So make sure you want to check your meats, or you want to go ahead and check any breads that you're baking and stuff. Usually breads, on the inside you want at least 200 or better. Any meats, obviously it depends, but mostly the chicken, if you need to pass through again, go right ahead. Mostly you want to go ahead and do your chicken as 165. That is perfect temp for that. I do not have a candy thermometer. I don't usually make a lot of candy items, so I don't have that. Now, also too, can openers. Now I have this nice electric one right here that sits here, but then you also have a manual. I have 2 because power goes out. You still need to be able to open something up. I have plenty of items, unfortunately, that are canned that do not have regular pop tops. So you always want to make sure you have this as a backup. We live in Florida, so we need to make sure that we always have a backup of non-electrical items in case does power go off during a hurricane. We are still able to go ahead and eat. Now we have many different whisks. I have a large one that I do use, but not a lot of. Then I have a couple of small ones. This one here has a plastic coating, so I like this because this is not going to damage any of my pots and my pans. But I do have some other metal ones. You want to have a little bit of variety of those. Coming down to the last few. A bench scraper. This is not also too a major necessity, but if you do a lot of baking, you are going to want to have this. This actually comes out just like this. So you can go ahead, if you're doing like a lot of onions, cutting here and then moving over here to that, instead of moving the cutting board if you don't want to, you can go ahead and use your bench scraper. This is a lot for baking items, but I do have it for cooking, and I do use it occasionally, not as often as I would like. Now the last 2 of the major items is I have deli containers, 2 different sizes. I have my 32 ounce, my 16 ounce. I don't have an 8, but I do have a whole bunch of lids. These are perfect for if you're gonna go ahead and meal prep for the week, or even a couple of days. You can go ahead and take some onions, put them all in here, peppers, whatever, stick them in the refrigerator, or you can also stick these in the freezer. I've done these for soups. I've done this for my onions or garlic, anything, lemons, lemon juice. So I usually do my lemon juice in a ice cube tray, and that's how I freeze it. But the other day you saw me making a video. I didn't have any more ice cube trays, so I just filled it up this and put it on my lid, called it a day, put it in the freezer. Just make sure you mark them, because you're not going to remember what they are as you're putting them in there. The last of the items I do want to talk about is your utensils. You want to have multiple utensils, okay? So I've got my stainless steel spoon, I've got a slotted spoon, I have my spatula, I have plastic spatulas. I have regular spatulas over here. You want one that's got at least a nice curve here or a flat end, so as you're scraping the bowls, you have that. You want to have a really nice pair of kitchen scissors. I get very upset when I don't find my kitchen scissors where they should be. And then a couple of wooden spoons. As you see, I think one of my daughters did take my kitchen scissors and she probably used them elsewhere. So these are gonna go right inside the dishwasher. They have been known to be used for other things, even though we have scissors throughout the whole house. But, you know, c'est la vie. So these are what my recommendations are for your basic. Now I'm gonna do a part 2 for the actual cooking items, but I wanted to give you a sense of what you kind of should have to go through. Please, if you can only afford to do a little bit, just go to Walmart, pick up the basic necessities that you need. They have these were not Walmart, but they have stuff like this at Walmart where you can just get like a 3-pack, buy that, bring them home. These also cannot go to the dishwasher, so anything that is wooden should be hand done. I mean, I even have a spaghetti scooper, so when I make spaghetti, I scoop it all out. These are just basics. You can obviously upgrade as you go along, but you should have at least some of these items if you are doing a startup kitchen, because I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there that have got either young home cooks or that you have college kids that are going out on their own for the first time, or even just somebody who is just moving out of their house and they just need the basics and they don't have them. Goodwill is great, thrift shops are great, Walmart is great, you know, Kohl's, Amazon. Find where you can go ahead and do that. Hopefully maybe you got friends or family that will go ahead and support your endeavors on trying to get some of these items. I will be back again for part 2 for the other items. But if you have anything else that you think that I've missed for this stuff, please go ahead and leave a comment so other people can go ahead and see it. I just want to say thank you so much for coming into my home today. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, put a comment down below. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get all of my up-to-date videos. I will go ahead and throw some videos here and here for you until my next upload. You guys have a great day and keep on cooking. Bye.